G'day mortals, my name is 𝐜𝐴, and today I'm going to be showing off my Zelda-inspired LARP slingshot. I felt like my character 𝐜𝐴 needed a slingshot because she is very heavily inspired by like The Legend of Zelda, Link, and specifically the Kokiri children of the forest. Plus sometimes I kind of go back and forth between her being an elf and a fairy. So I just felt like her weapon of choice should be a slingshot just for roleplay purposes. And so I made this wooden slingshot for her. Now this is pretty much a direct copy of the Skyward Sword slingshot. It's just slightly different. I made it yellow instead of white. But it's basically the same slingshot, and this definitely should be LARP safe. I haven't actually weighed or measured the draw of this, but this rubber band right here, this is really just for display purposes. This is about how long a slingshot band should be, but I'm not very strong at all, especially my forearms. So I actually have another one that's a lot longer that I put on it for when I use it. But it looks a bit absurd just how long it is. I'll show you that one in a minute, but it looks just like this one, but a lot longer. That way I can hold it out and like really pull it back to my head. I just prefer shooting it that way. So in this video, I'm going to do my best to explain and show you how I made it. Although, I'm not gonna show you every single bit of footage of me making this because it was a mega trial and error project. This is actually my second attempt at making one of these. And then after I explain that, I will take it outside and show you how I shoot it and how well it shoots. Doesn't shoot the greatest, but I think it shoots well enough for at least roleplay purposes. So stick around to the end if you want to see me shooting it outside. And I will be using spell packets to shoot with. I will be using spell packets like this one. It's just fabric and birdseed tied around with a rubber band. Now this isn't really a tutorial because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm just showing you how I made this. There really aren't any LARP specific slingshots out there that I've seen. There aren't even pictures of LARP slingshots. They're basically all real slingshots that you can use that like hunt with. So if you see any errors or flaws in my project, feel free to let me know in the comments because like I said, I didn't really know what the heck I was doing. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and start explaining and showing you how I made this. So first thing we did was go to my dad-in-law's house because he has a bunch of trees in his backyard, and we just looked for limbs that would have this basic like Y slingshot shape. This one was really the only one that we could find, and it's not perfectly symmetrical. As you can see, it's a bit slanted to the side, but I think that's okay. I don't think it really makes a difference, to be honest. So Ryan sawed it off the tree, and then we took it home, and then I marked off where I wanted to cut it specifically, and then I had him cut that off with a saw. You won't see me ever going near any kind of electric saw or anything that could shred my skin. So then I knew that I wanted to wrap these rubber band things around this spot right here. So I basically just used a knife and I shaved all of this off. I tried to only shave this spot right here where the rubber band goes, but the bark on the very top would not stay on. It just kept falling off, so I ended up having to shave this whole entire top off. And I shaved it until I couldn't see any more like green or brown. And then I also shaved the very top edges just to make it a little bit more soft and rounded out rather than like a perfect sharp edge. And then I went ahead and put the rubber band on it. So this rubber band, I'll link it in the description below. I got it from Amazon, and it's actually like a packing band for big, heavy boxes. But it's a very strong and durable band. I don't see it breaking or snapping like ever. Especially me, since I'm so incredibly weak. There's no way I'm going to be snapping this. And I also wanted something that was going to be big enough and heavy enough to shoot with the spell packets, and I think this actually works really well. And then I wrapped it around these little corners here. I measured it, and then I cut it off where it needed to be cut off. And then I just used 2 little zip ties to really tighten this section right here. She's trying to eat it, so it wouldn't go anywhere. I am positive there are better ways to secure that. When Ryan was using it to shoot, sometimes they would come out of these little zip ties, but when I shoot it, I'm not strong enough to put that much pressure on it, so it works fine for me. And then I just cut off the little excess of the zip tie so that it looks nice and clean. And then playing around shooting with this band, I realized that it is too small for my preference. So I ended up doing the same thing with another one, and I just made it a lot longer. And then I started working with the leathers. The red leather I just got from Amazon. The green leather I got from like Hobby Lobby or something a while ago. Same thing with the brown leather. And this part was actually really tricky. I ended up having to put the sheet of leather on the front, and I tried to measure it the best I can. Like I traced the slingshot shape on the leather, and then I cut that out, and I just kept putting it on the slingshot, measuring it, trimming it wherever I needed to trim it. And then I started to glue the inside of the leather onto it. I just used hot glue for that. And this middle section had a big like gaping hole in it, so I just got a tiny little like triangular piece of leather and glued it right in that little hole there. And then on the outsides, I just laced it up with some leather cord like the Skyward Sword slingshot. And then for the handle, I just got this green leather. I cut it into these long strips, and I wrapped it around each individual piece. I wrapped it around, and then I glued each piece onto the back here. It looks a little bit uneven and wonky there, but oh well. So that it has that nice like layered look. And then on the bottom, I just cut out another strip of red leather and just glued it on there. And then I just got some yellow acrylic paint and drew on the little designs that the Skyward Sword slingshot has. That's supposed to be white, but I don't like white, so I used yellow just to give it some bright sunshiny color. And I think that's really all there is to it. It's a lot more complicated doing it than it probably sounds, but I really loved this bark texture, which is why I didn't bother shaving it off, because I just loved the way it looked. Oh, and then for this little, what do you call it? Pouch? I think that's what you call it. I just cut out a leather oval shape, and then I put 2 little holes in it. Like I just cut out little slits on each side, and then I just slid the rubber band through it. And I did this because the Skyward Sword slingshot has this, its pouch looks just like this one, but I don't actually like shooting with it. It actually ends up messing my shot up most of the time, and I think it shoots just fine with just the rubber band. I know you're supposed to have some sort of pouch to hold your packet in, but honestly, for me personally, I don't like the pocket or the pouch at all. I only keep it on for the display rubber band, but for the one I actually shoot with, I don't bother putting this back on, because for some reason when I use it, my shots become so more inaccurate. I say more inaccurate because they're not that accurate in the first place. I think the spell packet gets like caught in the middle or something. I don't know what happens, but alright, I think it's about time to take this bad boy outside and see how well it shoots. So let's go. Alright, so we're outside now, and I got my slingshot and my spell packets, and we're gonna test to see just how well this thing can shoot. So I do have my longer rubber band now, and I'm gonna shoot it by putting the spell packet in the middle of the rubber band here and basically pinching it so that the entire thing is pinched by my fingers, and when I'm ready to shoot it, I just let go of that grip. Now I'm not sure if the best way to do it is to do it this way or this way. I just tend to put the ball of it right in the middle there, just because it's easier for me to install it in here, but I feel like it would go faster this way, maybe? I'm not sure, but let's go ahead and test to see how accurate this thing is. see how that last one really plummeted into the ground? I'm not sure yet how to avoid that, but I'm gonna do my best to learn how to avoid that. That one just plummeted. I don't know if it's me and the way I'm gripping it or if it's the slingshot. Now I'm aiming a little high because I'm so used to aiming high for longer distances, but I don't really need to aim that high. Alright, so that's all of my spell packets. I think only 3 of them plummeted to the ground, and then the rest of them were just too far to the right, so I just need to aim slightly to the left a little bit. Overall, I don't think the accuracy is too terrible. It's definitely not good for like, you know, serious combat situations, but for like a roleplay situation, I think it's fine. Mika's not out here trying to murder everybody or anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and do another round of that and see how that goes. Alright, that time I think it was about the same. 3 of them hit the slingshot, went to the ground. I did a lot better with the accuracy there. I actually got some on the target. So I think most of it is just that I need to practice a lot, of course. There's definitely a technique to it. So I think it works well enough, at least for a LARP. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this is LARP approved or whatever. Obviously, check your game and make sure that this draw is going to be safe for your game. Make sure that the spell packets are going to be safe for your game. Make sure that they even allow slingshots at your game. Yeah, I am decently satisfied by the way it shoots. I think once I get a lot of practice in and I can get more accuracy out of my shots, it'll be a lot more enjoyable to shoot with. Last thing I need to test to see if it actually hurts when I get hit by it, but unfortunately my husband's at work today, so I'm going to attempt to shoot myself, although the draw is not going to be nearly as good. Okay, that didn't hurt at all. So I imagine if I hit somebody with this, it's not going to hurt them. I don't think it'll hurt them. Alright, well, that was me making and shooting my slingshot. And again, if you found any kind of flaws or errors in me making this slingshot, feel free to let me know, especially if you're a LARPer. I don't really care about the proper way to make a real professional slingshot. I just care about the LARP slingshot. So if you're a LARPer who has made a slingshot or who has bought a slingshot specifically for LARP, please let me know and let me know how that went for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video.